a lot going back to HYROX as well. It's kind of how I got involved with that. Outside of being interested in the event myself, and I was interested originally, actually, it was more a business decision than anything else. I wanted a different way to be able to engage with my clients. And one way that I found was if I can get a goal in front of a lot of them, the ones that wanted and were curious to test their own, fitness, the ones that I'd been with for a long period of time, I knew that they could do this event because it's built for everyone. It's not like CrossFit in the sense where you need years of training to get to a proper clean or snatch, right? Like those are skills that require a lot of time to develop. If you have a decent enough fitness level, lunges everybody can do, wall balls everybody can do, pushing heavy weight, pulling heavy weight, rowers, ski ergs, burpees, broad jumps, those sort of things, mostly everybody can do. To the degree that they can do them is really just what their fitness level is, right? So there's some people that are going to finish in an hour. There's some people going to finish in an hour and a half. Some people that can go 2+ hours to finish the actual event. The average is somewhere around like an hour and a half for most people. The elite people are doing it in under 60 minutes. The top female can complete it and has Megan Jacoby. She holds the record right now, 58 minutes, 58 seconds.
Okay, so let's backtrack.
Yeah.
So HYROX, is every workout different every time you do it?
It's the same events, the same 8 events with a kilometer run between each one. So you start with a kilometer run, then you go right into the ski erg for 1,000 meters. Another kilometer run, you come back, you go right into one of the toughest stations of the event, which is the sled push. Now, if you're in the open level or if you're in the pro category, the weight can be a little bit different, but the distances are the same for that, right? Which is 50, right? 50 meters. So everything is kind of like European has started in Germany. So you're looking at a meter to a yard, roughly about the same, about half a football field, right? Pushing heavy weight. Same with the sled pull as well, right? Which comes next after that. And then you go into burpee broad jumps, you go into the rower, lunges, farmer's carries and lunges, and then finally with the wall balls, when you finish, it's 100 wall balls, right?
Fucking hate wall balls.
Yeah, they're tough. They're tough. I mean, you'd have to do 100 squats and 100 thrusters, basically, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's not like you're doing it with super heavy dumbbells.
No, it doesn't matter though. It wears on you, hip flexors.
Not only does it
and it's at the end of the event.
It's the end of the event. It's the last thing that you do before you cross the finish line, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like you have to do them unbroken, even though some people do. It's a matter of, it's a timed event. So the person who wins is the person that does it in the fastest time.
Yeah, the fastest amount of time.
So the events don't change, and I don't ever foresee them changing.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So it's just the same thing every single event.
Exactly. It's those 8 events. It's those 8 stations, and why people continue, I think, to do them often, even though it's the same exact event every single time. So is the marathon, right? It's the same. It's 26.2 miles, no matter where you do it. Some events might be a little bit more hilly, some might be a little bit more flat, some you're closer to the coast, some you're more inlet. What matters and what changes, in that is your strategy. So many things can go wrong, right? Half of the actual event is running, right? So there's 16 exercises that you do. 8 of those are all running. So you have to have a really decent running base in order to be able to do it. But anything can go wrong during any of that time. And I'll give you an example of my first race. I'm not a naturally gifted runner. Never have been, right? You can see I'm, 5'9" at best. I'm built like a mini gorilla. Like I have thick, thighs. And so I'm not like lean, and I don't gazelle myself through runs, right? I look like, you ever see Yoel Romero run?
Nah.
First of all, he's got a fusion in his spine, so he kind of like runs like a robot, but he's just like this thick piece of meat that's just like running down the road. It's not pretty, right? But a lot of really successful people in HYROX have a good running base, and for me, I knew that a lot of the strength stuff was gonna come a little bit easier, right? The sled push was definitely one of the things that I knew that I could crush. My first event, I did that in 2 minutes and 20 seconds, which is like very good. But my next run after that, trying to use your legs in that capacity,
you're pumped up, and the lactic acid that you have after that is
So if you don't
Engorging your legs.
exactly, so if you don't train your legs to do that, in the off season while you're training to get ready for these events, and that means doing exactly that, doing something that requires you to get that pump and then quickly, immediately go into
no rest, go right in.
go right into a 400-meter run or a 200-meter run, just so that your body can feel it. Because the last time that you want to feel that is on race day. You don't want to shock your body like that. And even if your next run is equivalent to your first run, because remember, the sled push is just the second station.
Yeah.
You're going to feel it 5-6 stations down the line. It's going to catch up on you, whether it's the burpee broad jumps or the lunges. It's going to catch up to you eventually at some point. So strategy is very, very important in that, and how you actually pace yourself through the event. So there are some little tricks here and there as far as getting through some different things, and there are a lot of rules too from HYROX that don't allow you to do certain things.
Such as?
You have to hit your knee down at every single lunge. It's not one of, and this is obviously.
You mean the knee has to tap the ground?
It has to tap the floor on every single lunge, right?
And do you have judges following each person?
You do. It's not a perfect science, just like most events that have thousands of people that join. Like the one in Birmingham just recently out in the UK was like 6,000 people. I don't think you can have enough judges to kind of get everything done as accurately as possible, but not everybody is racing for money. The elite people are, for sure. But most everybody else, not everybody gets $150,000 to race at the New York City Marathon.
Well, what happens?
Like Kipchoge does.
Well, what happens with the top guys? Is there ever a tie? Do they ever come in the same times?
I haven't seen a tie just yet.
Okay.
I have seen guys get passed, at the finish line, literally coming in second, and then all of a sudden being fourth because two people, just because they didn't pay enough attention. A lot of people will mess this up, right? Because the wall balls are the last station, so you think once you're done with the wall balls, you're done. But you have a timer, a tracker, that's around your ankle, and you got to make sure that you hustle from that station to the finish line, right? And that's where it ends. It doesn't end with your 100th wall ball.
Oh, that's cool. So it's got a little time tracker that stays on you, and then right when you cross a line,
100%.
It stops it.
It's actually one of the best things I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's cool. Instead of having somebody sit there with an inaccurate stopwatch.
Well, they do for the wall balls, right? So if you're sitting there, you have a judge that's counting every single one of your wall balls, and hopefully you're not no repping on any of them, because you don't want to do any more than 100 if you have to do 100. The girls for the open is 75. It's 100 for the guys. But the tracker, and what makes it amazing, is that it tracks every single one of your runs. So it tells you exactly, what your 1,000-meter effort or your kilometer effort is for each one. It also tells you your time inside what they call the rock zone. So the track is all outside the actual event area, and you run around that. In most places, it's 2 laps to get to the 1,000 meters. In New York was a smaller space. We were actually at the Meadowlands, where the little convention center next door to where the Giants play. And that was a little bit smaller venue, so there was 4 laps for that one. Now it gets a little bit tricky, but it tracks your time on those. It tracks your time in the rock zone, right? Going from station 1, station 2, station 3. So you want to always make sure it's a timed event. You got to hustle to those stations. You can't be spending too much time in that rock zone, just kind of dilly-dallying, right? So you have to use your first event, I think, as a way to manage and understand how you're getting around the landscape, right? See how the race actually goes. Most people are usually around up to 10 minutes off from what their capacity is on their first race, just because they're figuring everything out.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with me too. When I did my first one, I didn't know how hard to go on the sled push. I just went all out, and I paid the price for it afterwards.
Was that your first one trying it, and then you were a part of the team for HYROX, or you were already part of the team and you said, let me just give it a shot and try one?
I didn't become a part of the HYROX team until very recently, actually, in the last couple of months. And that process happened just from being able to meet everybody. I started a little podcast where I was interviewing the elite athletes from HYROX. I was very interested to hear from them, and there wasn't anything really like that was happening on the East Coast. There are some things, obviously, that are happening. Colorado is huge. Even California is huge. A lot more outdoor, kind of areas where people are more into, and a lot of the transfers, people coming from OCR, obstacle course racing.
Okay.
Which I've never been into myself, to be
Spartan
honest.
races?
Yeah, I'm not really interested in
So Rain did an event at one of the Spartan races, and we saw we were there the day before, and all the athletes went around the course and just did like some of the pinnacle areas of the course, like the mud pit and this and that, and then the electric fence, the dangling things at the end.
I'm like, that I'm like,
fuck is this, bro?
Yeah, I don't want to roll around in the mud.
Everyone's laughing. I'm like, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like just I got to run through this and get shocked.
People love it.
Yeah,
I don't understand it.
I'm good on that.
I like fitness events, and look, there's some people that look at fitness events and are like, I don't see fitness as
look at these nut jobs doing fitness.
Yeah, like fitness is not a sport.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a sport, or they think that. I do find it when you're actually at the HYROX event and there are spectators. I do see a lot of people that are there. They're just cheering everybody on. And I'm like, this is so weird. Everyone's cheering me on for working out.
Yeah,
because it's a workout. You're going through a workout.
Well, then again, you have mad people cheering on Joey Chestnut as he's just taking down those glizzies, man. You just gotta.
That's a fact.
I guess the working out part makes a little bit more sense when you think of it like that.
People like to watch other people do fantastic things. And it doesn't really matter what it is, whether it's, bungee jumping or a crazy fitness event like this, or, throwing spears at a Spartan race. I think people just like watching people do fantastic things. And I think that's why the CrossFit Games became, so popular and so huge.